Is I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
how much time that was interruption?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. What content covered? Uh, okay. Let's start from the beginning of global handler. The theory was theory of global handler was covered or not?
Yes, sir. That is covered, and you were started with some demo, I guess, in main page.
Okay. Kindly acknowledge me if the such type of problem occurred because there was a net connectivity issue at our end. Okay, sorry for this. So in our mm, we simply drag and drop a type into activity in our main project and want to type something into notepad and change the default timeout period of our activity. So is that clear? Just wait. Okay. Okay, now let's go with global handler. Okay, whenever we run this main.xml file, it should be generate a exception because we are close notepad on a background. So let's try with this debug option. Let's start a step into execution, go with a main file and comes to the sequence, newly created sequence, and then go to the type into activity. Now there was exception generated by our bot. Kindly mute yourself. Okay. The exception was generated by this project. Don't be confused. This exception was generated by this project file, not from the global handler. Now at this time, our global handler accept this argument, this exception as an argument. The argument variable name is error info as we show earlier. Now again go through a step into activity. This was automatically go on a global handler because this global handler was connected with our project. Now again go with a step into there was error occurred captured by log error and again go through this activity. Choose next behavior. So what was this activity? There was a by default count is less than 3 means 3 times, and there was some more options that is continue, ignore, retry, abort. Here the condition is that error info dot retry is less than 3 means the execution of this program is go with retry attempt that is 3. If there was a if condition, result is also a variable that was this was not designed during the runtime. I will show you after this. And here Was the exception, just stop this. For the better understanding, we put here a message box and call here the retry count, that is stored in the argument, that is error info dot retry count dot to string. That was okay. And one more thing, we don't need too much exceptions, so simply use here only message class. Okay, that was okay. Now save the file and again run with this main file. So it's go through main activity, again came with notepad activity. Now watch this error exception. It was generated by our project file, not by our global handler. So at the present time, the count of retry is 0. I will show you. Next step, it go on a log error activity. Again, this was go on a message box activity and provide the selector not found exception in our output panel. Let me increase this. Yeah. Again, so this was uh, the error count. Sorry, the retry count was 0 because this error was generated by main file, means our project file, not by global handler. Then press OK. Then go to the next behavior. A retry count is less than 3. This condition was true. Go to this activity and it's uh, it was error action dot retry, means it going with this activity. Retry activity means again try for this exception. Again it will go through this assign activity. Again go to the sequence file. Again generate the error and this was the error message count, that is 1. After that again it's go through this assign activity and it was saying that retry again. So it was jump to the main activity. Again it throw an exception. Again it go on message with true. Again 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 go with main activity. Now the condition was false because 3 is not less than 3. Press OK. Again it's go through a else activity. In a else activity, that is the result was that error action dot abort this option. This means the execution is stop after running the current handler, means In a simple word, the execution was abort. Let's do it. And finally, our board is generate the error, that is selector not found exception. So the execution was abort. So let's try with another example. If you have any type of doubt, kindly ask me. Mute yourself and ask me, or you comment on a chat section also. Okay, now let's go with another example that we want to use these options, that is continue. The exception was rethrown. It was clarified with the name. If we use, one second, instead of abort, we use continue, then it will again action dot continue. Then what's happened? It's again go to this process. So let's try. Decrease the retry count, that is 1. Okay. Now debug the main file. Wait for 2 seconds. It's generate the error. Now again, go through the error. Retry count was 1. Now again, it was after 1, it was go on a else step, and the else step was enforcing that use continue option meant exception is rethrown. Means rethrown the exception and try until the exception was not ended. Means loop was going on infinite manner. So instead of this, we use ignore activity, means the exception is ignored and the execution continue from the next activity. So let's try with another activity. After all retry, once let's save it and again debug it. Make sure I'm changing the option, that is error action dot count. Sorry, continue. I'm using here the ignore. Let's go with a main activity. Exception goes on a global handler. The count was 0. Next, obviously go on a assign a retry activity for one time. Again, it was generate the error. The retry count was 1, so obviously it was go on this section. Okay, awesome. Now in the else activity we use ignore option, so our execution jump on the next activity without aborting the execution, and the message box was successfully printed. So it's all about the error and exception handling with debugging. If you have any type of doubt, kindly ask me. Dear participants, kindly reply me. If you have any type of doubt, kindly ask me. Otherwise, the session was end on the behalf of me.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Your next session was continue on 2:30. Thanks to all of you.